Hi, I'm gang. My name is Dr. Jay Brightland with Full Circle Coaching Consulting. And joining me today is Zach. And we'll talk about Zach in just a quick moment. But if you're watching this on YouTube, please take a moment and hit the subscribe button and leave us a comment. Let us know what you liked or didn't like about this conversation. Um, Zach is somebody who I've got to, you know what, let me just tell the story about how we met, because I think that will lay foundation of what we're going to talk about. So this had to be, but yeah, almost like exactly a year ago. Does that sound right?
It's about right.
And so I'm currently living in Orlando, Florida. You can see there's some boxes and stuff behind. I'm literally just moving into my office in my space. And I'll talk about why I want you as a guest right now at this particular point in my life. But I was doing Spartan race out in Aspen, right? Out in Aspen, Colorado. And
Snowmass, yeah.
At Snowmass, yep. So at that point in time, I was a full-on practicing chiropractor, working Monday through Thursday in my chiropractic space. Friday, I drove out to Aspen, my buddy and I. And so I'm thinking like, here I am wearing a CrossFit shirt even today, kind of randomly. So I'm a CrossFit athlete. I always do well at CrossFit, and I'm doing running. And I've got pretty good muscle mass, but not a lot of muscle mass. I certainly would have liked more. But I thought, like, if I'm going to put muscle mass on, then it's going to slow me down in my races. And so I'm chugging along and I'm running as a competitive athlete, and I see this Clydesdale looking fella. And I remember I saw you, Zach. You had you were carrying a sandbag in your back. And I'm like, oh yeah, that guy's gonna do well through here, but I'm not gonna have to worry about him. I must have passed him already, because there's no way there's somebody who's that big who's gonna pass me. You just can't have that muscle mass to be as fast as me. And so I get done with my little bag carry, and he gets done with his bag carry, and I'm like running up this hill. I'm more like walking up this hill. And all of a sudden I hear like, and it sounds like that. It sounds like a fucking horse. And this dude comes zipping past me. He's cruising. And I look, I'm like, that's that guy. That's that a-hole. Because you're faster than me. You look better than me. So you're clearly stronger than me. So at the end of the race, I'm thinking, maybe I'll pass this guy. I never saw him again. And then I don't mean like never saw him again, like I never passed him. Like I never saw him again. Like he was gone. So I looked up at the end of the race, because I made a note of your number. Spartan races, if you enter a Spartan race, there's a number that goes in your forehead. So I looked up this guy, and yeah, there he is. There's Zach Vogel. And so I looked him up, and I found him on Facebook, and I found that he had this Heroes Training Program. So very sheepishly, I reached out to him and said, hey, I couldn't help but notice that you kicked my ass in this Spartan race, and you're bigger than me. Will you help me to do you? You help me to be like you. And a big proponent for the coaching with Full Circle that we do is that you don't ever want to be anybody other than yourself. But I had this limiting mindset that I couldn't be big and strong and fast. You were either fast or you were strong. You were not one and the same. So I reached out to Zach and said, geez, I'd like to know what it is that you're doing. And if you're doing it in a way that can fit my lifestyle, because I would like to have what you've got. Later on, I found out that he had like 19-inch biceps. So that was kind of a bonus to be working in that direction. So Zach and I have been working together for almost a year now. I've put on about 20 pounds. I don't believe I've slowed down at all with as fast as I am. And I have found the rhythm and routine, and specifically the accountability, again, which is something that we focus on with Full Circle, is having somebody to hold you accountable for the greatness that you say, for your stated greatness. I want to be this. Can you help me to get to here? Not that you want to be anybody else other than yourself, but I want to do this. And Zach has been a fantastic compliment, specifically on the physical side of my life. And that's something we look at this there's 7 different components of life. There's a spiritual, a mental, a career, financial, familial, a social. But I wanted to specifically focus on some accountability for something that I value, this physical piece of my life. So Coach Jay hired Coach Zach, and he's been an integral part of my life for the last year. So long story made short, that is how we've met. We've become fast friends. Zach still lives out in Golden. We have chats or some sort of dialogue pretty much every single day, or certainly several times a week, maybe not every single day.
Yep.
And it's usually a result of Zach kicking my ass and me signing up for this, like wanting this, putting my ass kicked. So I'd like to turn it over to you, Zach. And I asked him, he had this trophy. Can you point to your trophy there?
Oh, this guy.
He had this trophy, and it was hidden behind that lamp. I said, "Man, you know what? If nothing else, like, you got to have that trophy up, at least for some sort of like social proof that, like, because people can't see how big you are sitting there. Zach's a thick dude, and he's got the trophy there to prove it. So, Zach, just tell us a little bit more about your path to where you are, and I'd like people to. This can be as long or as short as you want it to. But I really want to give people some idea of where you've been, how you become such an exceptional athlete, and specifically tips, tricks, and tools that they can put into their life today, whether they're a full circle client, a heroic client, or just somebody watch this out on the YouTube series.
Wow. Yeah, well, number one, thanks for the intro. That's a loaded question. There's a lot of conversation to be had within just that phrase that you just shared. I guess, I'll first start off with when we met up in Snowmass. I've trained like in all these different facets of fitness for a long time. And when you had met me, it was kind of reaching my peak of my programming and understanding that I could also be big, be fast, be lean, and endure. I guess those were some of the big things. And then when I ran across you, I'll never forget the comment of passing both you and Brian down the hill. And man, I had some rabbits out on the field that I was chasing, some guys that are smaller than me, because there's plenty of people that are much faster than I. But I guess it's one of those things when I'm out there, knowing that I'm as big as I am, that I'm going to do everything that I can do in my power to keep up to them. So I've got my rabbits that I chase after too. So it's a different level of fitness when you get into OCR. Yeah, I guess
OCR, for people who don't know what OCR is.
Yeah, OCR. So obstacle course racing. An obstacle course racing is very much an endurance sport. So you're going to have, put it this way, you only really need to be strong enough to get through an obstacle one time. And the rest of it is all running and endurance. And if you're in any mountain series where you're like in Snowmass where we were, or Breckenridge, Killington, Vermont, any place up like there, you're going to have to deal with major inclines. They're going to send you up the mountain, back down the mountain, and back up multiple more times, usually carrying something. So it's a different level of fitness. And to be bigger typically requires more oxygen, more fuel, so you just burn out faster. And I come from a background in exercise science and bodybuilding. So, for me, I earned my pro card in natural bodybuilding back in 2008, which is what this cat is. But you can see, I could still show you. I don't need the trophy. No, man, but I love your mindset. I love like how you bring in those 7 dynamics, the physical, mental, social, emotional, spiritual, familial, financial, all those things, how they lead into like the circle of life. And when it comes to fitness, for me, I was telling myself those same exact lies. Like, the biggest one for me was I was all show and no go. When I was competing in bodybuilding, it's like, I do this, so I'm a stage pony. I get up on stage, I got my 5 minutes to 10 minutes up on stage. I trained for 16 weeks or longer to get down to a super low body fat percentage that's really not sustainable, at least for me, and try to perform that way. But when it came to endurance, when it came to actually putting that stuff to the test in the real world, I lied to myself and I said, hey, that's not for me. I'm all for the stage.
So tons of little like life coaching analogies here. First of all, like the ups and downs of life, the mountains that you'll climb, the valleys that you'll go into, the series of life's challenges and supports, and how you respond to those. Now,
right.
Clearly in Spartan Race obstacle course, you are going to be given massive ups and massive downs. The question that, again, I don't want to talk just about the physical, but the mental piece here I want to talk about really quick is that you better darn be ready. If your ups and your downs in life, if your ups and your downs at that Spartan race are the maximum, and you're letting life give you the maximum ups, the maximum downs, you will get crushed for sure.
Right.
But if you were going out and you're planning on meeting a mountain, XYZ height, whatever, physical, emotional, spiritual, and you go out and find one that's double that on a consistent basis for your training, your reading, your writing, whatever it is, and you are consistently finding those things and training much higher, when you get to those maximum in life ups and downs, they will seem so much smaller. We talk a lot about the sine wave of life and the ups and downs. And my assertion is that life is taking the sine wave of life and depressing the amplitude consistently, because you will always, whatever your up is, you will always attract the equal and opposite down. For every down that you attract, you'll attract an equal and opposite up. What I'd like to put forward to anybody watching here is, if you were feeling like your ups and downs are huge and you've got these huge peaks and valleys, first of all, you're not finding a high up yourself to train at. You're also not putting the mental piece together, looking at the ups and the downs and looking at the benefits and drawbacks of each one of those. Because when the mental side, we call this a collapse, bring that amplitude down on a consistent basis, your life just becomes so much more predictable. And you're always going to have the unpredictability, and it's never, hey, 1 month has gone by, I'm going to attract a new trough and know that it's going to work that way. But when you're mentally aware that when things are good, if you can bring yourself down, the universe will not force you back down. Again, mental and physical.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's all about training for adaptation, whether that's physical or it's business, training for adaptation, because you're going to have expansion and contraction in every single thing that you do. Absolutely. There's, in fitness, you've got the eccentric and the concentric, and then you've got the horrible isometric, which is holding still, right? So in life, there really is no, there may be a holding pattern that you have to do, but it's very temporary. It's not sustainable, so either you're getting better, or you're getting worse, you're falling behind, or you're growing. And the same thing when it comes to the physical and fitness side, it's really about those. You've got advantages in your climb and you've got advantages in your descent. And both of them also have their obstacles and their adversities. So
I want to speak, I want to get really I want to delve into the physical piece here and actually looking at a workout routine. And one of the things Zach has me do, first of all, I got really clear with what my stated goals are, what my stated intentions are, and then he adapts and fits my training plan to work that. But specifically what he does when we're tearing muscle is he does look at the concentric and the eccentric. So when I'm working out, like today was a back and chest day, right? So you're looking at one side and then the other, and one side and then the other. There's no rest. So he's taking the time piece of life, getting the absolute most out of it. Workouts should be 60 to 80 minutes. And you're going to work two muscle groups, and you're going to work them a lot. He's got a specific amount of reps that he does, but he's working the up and the down for all the physical workouts. And that's what I love about Zach, getting the most bang for your buck with the time, but also looking at not just sitting around and resting. How many times you go to the gym and see somebody on their phone and just like chilling out, right? They're not working Zach stuff because they'd be quickly running over to another machine.
Right.
Whatever. To work the opposite side. It's all about ups and downs, ins and outs, and concentric and eccentric. So just for anybody who's watching here, find yourself like resting at the gym, you're not doing Zach's training, which is okay.
Yeah.
But what's the goal?
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
Well, and that's the key too, because it's what does Dwayne Johnson say? What is it? Oh man, I'm gonna botch it, but I think it's same devil, different levels, right? We've all got the same battles, the same battle we're fighting, but we're just on different levels, right? So when we understand that we've got these differences, and I don't do anything that's really crazy new. I just have systems that have worked really well for me. And when you understand the human body as far as what it's capable of, if you've got muscular energy and endurance, as well as the lung capacity, so your aerobic capacity can actually match that, you've got a pretty good system. And say for me, take me, for example, being 227 pounds and, 6-7% body fat in that zone, and being able to keep up to guys who are 150 pounds, 140 pounds. And, when I'm running with these guys, In a lot of cases, they're going to outpace me. Their minute per mile is faster than mine, but I'm able to make up ground in the obstacle area. So in a lot of cases, but here's my thing too. If I wanted to win a race, I can guarantee you that I'd drop probably about 30 to 35 pounds. That means me dropping muscle mass. But for me, that's not my goal. You know, this last season, I took 6 age group medals, so placed in the top 3 out of 6 races, you know, which is great. And I'm totally content with that, especially being one of the larger Spartan racers in the entire world. So I'm good with that because I perform at the level that I love to perform. And that's the key thing, is identifying what your specific goals and mission is. You know, for Jay, he's laid out, we've got basically 2 different programs that we've done now for Jay. We're on the second right now, where it's just a different type of routine. The sets and reps are different. The intensity is about the same, but his frequency during the week has now changed. So there's some stuff that we tweak and we modify as we go, but that's being able to pivot, right? So like as our goals change physically, mentally, our state of living, our lifestyle, all of those things. Sometimes we don't have time for a 60-minute workout. We got time for 30, maybe 45. So we've got to make adaptations and adjustments where we need to. And that's why I love coaching though, but it also holds me accountable to what my major mission is to help people like Jay and focus on, okay, how can I be adaptable for him? Because I've got all this stuff that's going on up here after 26 years of training. How can I apply all of that experience into a program that's going to help him achieve his goals? So adapt, overcome, transition where you need to.
You said a word there that I know that slipped by, but I want to mention it because I know that you are not content. You said that you won 6 out of 6 in 6 races. You were on the podium for all 6 of those. You were content with that. And
right.
I don't think that you're like, oh, this is just fine. I don't think that content was the right word. I think that there's a different word to describe. I think that if I could use a phrase, you felt like your goals and what you met were one and the same.
Right.
But I hear the word content. Anytime I hear the word content, I feel like somebody said, yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. That's good enough. And I don't feel like you sat back and said, oh, well, that's just good enough. I think you specifically set a goal and you met your goal. And had you not met your goal, you would have looked at why you didn't meet your goal. You would not have been content. You would not have been okay with that. You would have altered. You would have adapted. You would have done something for other so that you could consistently meet your goal. I believe what you said, what you meant to say, I had a goal and I hit it. And I was cool with that because my goal was my goal. It wasn't anybody else's. I feel like you're downplaying how much intensity and focus that you put into meeting your goal because you weren't just content with that. What you're saying is, yeah, I know I could have won the race. That wasn't my goal.
Yeah. So a lesson I learned a long time ago was never let yourself get too high or too low. So for me, you know, because you've trained with me just only a couple of times, like in person. And
twice.
Yeah. So for me, I know what my training is like. So I just wrapped a workout and even with my clients. So it was my second workout for the day. Had a group of clients this morning and we train outdoors and, you know, so contentment for me is reaching a point of a desired result, you know, so I reach that desired result. And then I know that there's areas that I could have shaved off time. I could have made up steps in areas, but for me, like when I hear that and I talk to myself in that manner, it's like, yes, I'm content with that, but I also know that I could have pushed it further and harder in areas. So, because there's always more to give, right? So there may have been a better word to use there, but
what would that have cost you? The other word that you used,
right.
So we have a 4-tier approach. Get clear in your vision,
right?
What's your focus, and then systems,
right?
You don't want to come back to that, and then the team. Who are the teammates to support you? So you are on my team. My vision is to put more weight on, to continually be fast and fit and look great for my wife, also have longevity, continually set a bar for my kids to strive for, also with what health and fitness could look like and what focus blocks are in the way. So my focus block was I can't be fast, I can't be fit, and I cannot be strong and large. Well, that focus block came down in a hurry once I met you. And I said, I want the system that this guy has. I want to put him on my team. So when you mentioned systems, can you speak to some physical systems that have consistently worked well for different people who have different goals? Is there any specific like system that you can speak to in addition to like your coaching system, but like anything that anybody can put into place today?
So just like, for instance, like a fitness system, something that I use daily to help keep me on track?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So number one, I start every morning with some level of fitness. And the simplest way that I've been able to keep it, because I can get off track just as much as anybody else. I'm married for almost 14 years. And we've got 3 kids. And I guess when you've got clients that either come to your home and train with you or, you know, at the park or whatever, I've got a heightened level of responsibility with all of my clients. So it's like I can get just as distracted. I can hop on the computer and start programming, but my anchored system is 20 minutes minimum every single day of fitness. So every morning before I do anything, I, you know, drink my full glass of water. I head downstairs, I hop on the bike, hop on the stepper, and I hammer out either 20 minutes of steady state cardio. And I do this all fasted. So steady state cardio or 10 minutes of cardio and then 10 minutes of sprint training. So that's every single day. And usually I alternate days. So that's the first system I have, but then I also get my reading in. So right now I'm rereading a book called Resilience by Eric Greitens, and also Simon Sinek, The Infinite Game. Mm-hmm. So I'm reading both of those. I do my Bible reading in the morning, helps keep me focused, keep my filter in place. And that's every day. So that's how I anchor my day. But it also in the morning when you hammer that cardio, and especially at the intensity level, Jason Statham will tell you the same thing. Whatever it is that you do, pound it for 20 to 40 minutes like a jackhammer and anchor your day, right? So that gets your BDNF going, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So it helps increase basically the neuroplasticity of your brain. So if you can do that every single morning, you're gonna achieve a win. It anchors your day with that workout. So no matter how hectic the day gets, even if you're not able to fit in your strength training workout, for me, I know that I've got that in the bank, right? So it sets the tone for the day. So I guess that's the easiest, most achievable system because everybody can wake up in the morning and you can hammer something out, you know, whether it's 50 burpees, 100 burpees in the morning, whatever that is. You don't need a bunch of fancy equipment. And the accountability is another thing where, you know, so I'm accountable because I'm an endorsed athlete. I have got to perform. So I don't have a choice in my mind. I've got to get up and I've got to do this stuff. So if you don't have to get up and don't have to do it, that's been one of the challenges of, you know, the state of the world that we're in right now is there's all this flux, there's all this uncertainty and all of these transitions and changes going on around us. There's a lot of reasons not to do something because you don't have to and because you don't really know. So one of the things that we can do is help holding ourselves accountable because ownership is a part of Heroes Training Systems is you taking responsibility for the choices that you make, no matter what it is. And the one rule of leadership, what was it? My kids watch a lot of Pixar movies and DreamWorks. The first law of leadership or first rule of leadership is it's always your fault, no matter what. Yeah. So we have to look at us for where we're at, you know, but we can also look at us for where we want to go.
Tony Robbins is one of his quotes was at his business mastery class. And he says, every day, do something that challenges you physically every day for 20 minutes and do something mentally that challenges you 20 minutes every single day. So at this point, the big transition in my life from Colorado to Orlando, and I don't know if you can see up above here, but I'm still putting in this coffered ceiling. You can see some of the marks up there. It hasn't finished yet. With all, I'm just looking at like, take all the physical things that you've become accustomed to that help you achieve your routine. Well, when you're out in the world throwing chaos at you, how do you hold yourself accountable? And who holds you accountable for your stated vision? And that's where your coach comes in, whether it's a full circle coach or somebody like Coach Zach for me on the physical side. I also have a I also have a coach also. So who will hold you accountable? And what are the I heard you talk about anchors and rituals that you have. What are your anchors and rituals that you, on a regular basis, even though your physical world, the social world might be different, considerably different right now in a time of whatever you want to call the COVID challenge that the world has created. We've created. It's I don't even know that there's a neutral way to talk in the world right now. But the point is that you control what goes into your brain. That's a Jim Rohn quote, right? Like only you control what goes into your mind. Whether you cut social media, accountability by the coach, and you know what? What was the author of Resilience? What was the author's name? I hadn't heard that book before.
Eric Greitens. So he's the former governor of Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Former Navy SEAL.
How do you spell the last name? Eric?
Greitens.
Okay, cool. So
yep.
Just accountability for me. I'm going to go out and get that book. It's something that my coach has done that has given him rhythms and routines and 19-inch biceps. I want to go out and find that. Stated goal for me, by the way, is not 19-inch biceps, but something bigger.
Added bonus.
That would be an added bonus. One of the things that we talk about are major outcome activities or MOAs. Is there anything specific to you that you do on a regular basis that are big things in the physical world? Are there metrics? Are there set points that you have? Are there any sort of like big activities that you on a yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly basis that you step into on a regular basis?
For me, that's what the races are for. That's what my fitness events are for. So when I've got something on the calendar, like, a Spartan race or, for instance, a High Rocks training event, which that's a different beast in and of itself, kind of a cross between OCR and CrossFit. They're pretty nasty. And the harder you push, the harder they are. So especially when you get into the pro ranks, the weights are just obscenely heavy. So having things on the calendar for me has always been kind of that impetus to keep pushing forward. It gives you that target to shoot for, signing up for stuff that scares you. Like, again, being 227 pounds and hopping on a road bike and doing the triple bypass, riding over 3 mountain ranges, basically three, you've done it before, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I accidentally joined the triple bypass before I knew it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 120 plus miles of pretty nasty mountainous terrain, right? So
Colorado mountain ranges, summer, and it can feel like winter, and it goes back and forth. Yeah, it's
3 different levels of weather as well. Potentially rain, snow, sleet, sun. Wind. You never know. So anyway, so stuff like that I have in the calendar that just kind of gives me that carrot to chase after. Right now has been a really challenging time. I've got a lot of online clients that I work with, and I've seen everything where I've got people that lean into the training. I've got people that have regressed from the training because they're lost. I guess the one thing that helps keep perspective for me is if you're an Olympic athlete and you had the Olympics taken from you this year and you had been training for 4 years or more for that position, and now all of a sudden all your training, everything is put on hold and postponed. I don't care who you are, but if you're a young athlete like that, number one, your chances are you're younger than 30. You're definitely probably younger than 40. So you haven't experienced a ton of life yet. I put myself in their position and have some empathy and try to understand like how challenging that is for them, because us as adults that have kids that have been married, that have kind of been around for a little bit longer, we've seen the challenges, we've seen the weather. So we're a little bit more conditioned for changes kind of like this, but we haven't even seen anything like this. So it's one of those things to kind of help add perspective that others may have it a lot worse than you, and what it is that you're doing to basically be part of your own solution. I've got a saying on my shirt. I'm not sure if you can read it. but it says no one is coming to save you. Be the hero. So that we are responsible for our own life jacket.
I love that piece, and you hear this from like the astronauts who've seen Earth from the moon, and they come back home, and what is there left to live for? Well, you had this big goal, whether you achieved it or it was taken away from you, or whether you're just a regular guy like Zach or I, although Zach's probably not a regular guy, he's half horse. What is important to me with all these people is to ascertain your hierarchy of core values. What is your why? So it's not the hows or the whens that we tend to get trapped in. With familial, societal, social stresses tend to push us into the hows and the wheres and the whos and whens, but more importantly, focus on your why. Because if you know why you're going to the moon, why you're going to the Olympics, why you're training, why you're moving to Orlando, why you've got kids, I think the only difference between somebody who has progressed and they've got children like Zach versus somebody in their 30s is they probably have had less experiences. So they've had less time to focus on why they're doing anything. So one of the very, very first things we do with all of our clients, and you did this with me also, is why are you doing this? That was the question that you asked. So that it wasn't like this, like the pandemic takes away events. You can dial back into the human being. Hey, this is why you signed up with me. This is why you're going to work. This is why you've got kids. This is why you were doing the Olympics. And to be absolutely crystal clear so that it isn't, your goal isn't taken away from you or you've achieved it. Now it's gone and it's over. You know why you're doing it. It's a stop on the way. It's maybe a big point, Olympics, and they're going to get taken away. So are you up and down, or are you dialed into why and your ups and downs are smaller? That would be my offering for those humans.
Well, for sure. It's like, so focus on the process, right? So if we're very systems oriented and focusing on what that process is, the process of becoming, it's, fitness is an infinite game. You never win it. Yeah. There's no winning. You may win a lifting competition, but that competition's finite. Whoever lifts the most, whoever has the fastest time. Okay. So whoever looks the best on stage, which is subjective, whoever, if it's a finite game, you play by finite rules. But in life's an infinite game. It's not about just being better or best. It's about you becoming more every single day. So what is that why, for you? What is it that you set out to do, physically? What is it you've set out to do for your business, financially? All of those things. So what is the why behind it? And then look at the patterns, look at the systems that you have in place, and how do they match up? And because you look at the result, right? The result always points to the process.
So it's funny to say that my wife and I, again, in Orlando, we bought this 1971 fixer-upper house, and I'm all stressed out.
Which I love. I think that's awesome.
What, that we're fixing up the house? Or that's 1971?
Dude, I love fixer-uppers because it allows you to put your new twist on something that's been there, right?
So here I am, masculine, going. And my wife looks at me, she says, what in the hell are you so stressed out for? What are you sprinting for? What are we doing here? She says, I thought that one of the reasons why we were doing this, here's my super, very, very divine feminine wife saying, why are we doing this? I'm like, well, we need to get the popcorn ceilings knocked down before the kids get back in, before our pod gets in. She goes, this isn't what we signed up for. This isn't why we were doing this. I'm like, well, why are we doing this? She goes, well, we're doing this to have fun. We're not working. I'm doing coaching, but I'm not doing chiropractic anymore. Nor was she. My wife was a chiropractor also. And I'm like, that's right. I'm going to go get a beer. Let's put a movie on. Let's just chill out. She's like, thank God. But my wife's my accountability partner. This is why we signed up. And frankly, meanwhile, while this is all going on, I kind of got Zach in the back of my head. And I know that I told Zach that give me until July 30th, and then we're going to hook back up. I can kind of screw around and whatever, but 30th, line in the sand, I want you to hold me accountable. So, I pop up my app, and guess what? On the 30th, Son of Guns got 2 workouts programmed for me, and now we're full on back into it here in August. And I'm rolling right along, back into routine, clothes are put away. And so it's a little bit easier for me. I want to pat myself on the back and say, hey, good job, Brightlow. You hired yourself a couple good coaches and wife to hold you accountable, even though you went off track for a little bit. It's okay to go off track, Zach. I really want to give you an opportunity to talk about the physical side when people get off track, and dial back a little bit into how they can get back on track, whether that's with you or individually. Can you speak to some of the hows a little bit, even though
I was still talking to him. I just started driving.
Yeah, hold on just a second. Hey, what's up, Rachel? Yeah, so we've got a training studio here, so we've got some friends that just come over and train. So
there, right? There it is. Like
it's right there.
The locker is accidental. You're in your basement of your home.
I am. Yeah. So taking breaks are an essential part of life, right? So it's like when you laid out like the transitions, we've only got mental capacity for so much. And if you keep stacking pressure on, it's just a matter of time before the steam fittings just explode. So having good stress, called eustress, that's great. But when you get into distress, that's a problem. So it's being able to monitor ourselves about where we're at and knowing your state, right? Tony Robbins talks about that all the time. Your state of mind. What is your state of being, right?
Change your state.
Right. So when you look at like where your state is currently at, and it's like, yourself best. And that's how I talk to all my clients that way too. It's like, yourself best. You know yourself better than anybody, right? And then when you have a coach that's very aware, their primary job is to help their clients become more aware, right? In a very empathetic, understanding, and coaching way to help them see things from a different perspective. That's all, and then we guide them, teach them, train them, mentor them, whatever it takes to move the needle for them. Some people like, the kick gloves. They love the sandwich technique. Some people like the jackhammer. Some people love to get pounded on. So everyone's a little bit different. And that's where coaching, even for me, it's like adaptation, right? So because everyone is different, being able to recognize what those things are. But if you need a break, understanding that that's okay. But when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? How many times have we heard that before? So it's only when you're ready that all of a sudden it's like, whether it's the law of attraction or divine intervention or whatever you want to call it, you've got things that pop into your life, the reticular activating system, right? You start seeing all these things where it's like you start thinking about fitness. Zach pops into your brain, Heroes Training Systems. Like, I know there's going to be a workout in there for me on July 30th, because I sent him my dates, and I expect it to be there no matter if I'm sitting in a beer, having a beer, enjoying a movie right now. That day is coming, So being able to take breaks is extremely healthy. But then sometimes we do need a coach. I admire the fact that you've got multiple coaches in areas, because when we are trying to do every single thing ourselves, like I said in the beginning, we've only got so much capacity to do that. And if you've got someone who specializes in an area that can help relieve some of that pressure and help keep you on track, that's kind of why I love doing what I do. I don't try to be the jack of all trades and be the master of none. However, I think there can be areas where you've got to be able to have some crossover. You got to be able to do a lot of different things, but you don't have to be able to do everything, right? So
the way I found you was just a Google search, and then that led me to your Facebook page. So if people want to find you, and some of my one of my clients, actually the only client I've introduced to you thus far, is coaching with you, and there are significant results. What I wanted to do with Jen is I didn't want to step in and say, look, I'm going to hold you accountable in the physical area also, because that's not where I'm strongest. I'm strongest in other areas, specifically on the business side and the mental side for her. But I said, look, I want you to consider hiring this guy as your coach, because we've heard this physical piece pop up enough, and you're only as strong as your weakest link. So I'd like our full circle clients and anybody who's watching this to be able to find you and take advantage of you. Well, not take advantage of you, but
for sure. Yeah. So our website, we've got a website, heroestrainingsystems.com. That's HEROES. And So HEROEStrainingsystems.com. So that's probably the easiest way. You can contact me directly from there. And then my email is just my name, ZACH @heroestrainingsystems.com. So pretty simple.
So, and you've got a Facebook page also, which is kind of what turned me on. I could turn me on to the results that you were achieving, because you're very transparent on there. You give some demonstrations and some videos, and we try to do it with Full Circle also. Just like, so if you never sign up with me, just so you know, if you go to my Facebook page, I'm putting stuff out there. Same thing with Full Circle and our YouTube page.
Yeah.
Are you still tending to that on a regular basis so people can find you through there? Because that's actually why I sent you the first message.
Yeah, it's true. And yeah, it's a growing area for our business, that's for sure, because a lot of what we do is primarily Instagram. You know, and we're actually breaking off from my personal Instagram and starting its own Heroes Training Systems Instagram. So it's completely directed towards primarily fitness, nutrition, lifestyle. So in mindset, so all those areas will be under Heroes Training Systems on Instagram, which just got started literally days ago. And then, so we're going to do a lot of our work there, but then I'm also going to have and hire a manager to help work on the whole our Facebook page for Heroes Training Systems. So yeah, so that's growing as well.
I'm all about regular people who I aspire to be like in different areas. Like I love the mental capacity that John DeMartini has. So I put him into my Facebook feed. I love the physical capacity that Zach puts out there. So I surround myself with Zach. I love the spiritual component of Wayne Dyer. So I read a Wayne Dyer book. So you will move towards the things that you surround yourself with. So even if you never reach out to Zach, he's got great stuff online as well. For anybody who's finding you through this video today, Zach, I want people to find you. I want people to use your tools. Do you have an irresistible offer for us? I just put you on a spot here.
Put me on a spot. Yeah. So for all of our online coaching, which I love, honestly, I love online coaching. There's a lot of coaches that really don't care for it that much. And they're doing it kind of as a necessity right now, because it's the only way that they can reach their team, their community. But I do really enjoy the whole online coaching platform. Hold on here just a second.
You know what, here, as you did that, Zach and I, long before the pandemic, were training through his app. Where is it?
Yeah.
The Train Heroic
Yep.
app. It is. And then, so there's my workout today, right? So there's the weight I did today and the intensity. And if I dial back out of that, you can see all the different exercises, and it's very specific. And if you don't know what something is, the thing that's cool about this, the reason why Zach and I've only worked out twice, because he makes everything available online with demos. And this is all linked. So in this particular video, I just happened randomly on the, what am I looking at here, Zach? The hamstring on the TRX. So
ham curls, yeah.
Ham curls. So this particular one, it was working on the back side of the hamstring. And then this would alternate to the front side, which was back squat, 20, 15, 12. So I did 20 back squats, 15 of those, 15 back squats, 15 of those, 12 back squats, 15 of those. And Zach had a programming reason behind it. I don't ask questions. I just plug and play. I don't have to think about my workouts. I put my head down, put my headphones on, and I'm off and running, unless somebody comes by and taps me on the shoulder for some reason, like they did today, and I make a noise.
Right. So yeah, man, it's been such a process. You see, you started with me when we were originally PDF, remember?
Yeah, I do.
So we were still pounding out PDF and question after question after question. I'm like, man, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a system that works way better than this. And I was reluctant. Like, I tried 3 different companies, and there wasn't anything that fit my vision for what I wanted it to be. Like, I had this mindset where I've got this specific vision that I have for, okay, so it's got to be customizable. I got to be able to adapt it really fast. I got to be able to embed my own videos. So I've shot over 480 videos of my own, right? So in my gym, my studio, put all of my own videos in there because I've even talked to my wife about this too. I'm like, so do you think I should use their videos because they've got like 1,300 videos? She's like, well, do you have the capacity to like do your own? Because your clients want to see you.
True.
Like, oh yeah, they do. So I shot all my own videos for all my own moves, and it's growing literally every week. So I'm usually embedding 5 to 10 more videos, new exercises, because now as gyms are opening back up and people have more access to certain things, like, you know, when I was up there training with you, we threw in pec deck flies, we threw biangular lat pull downs, right? So we threw in these different variations. So I enjoy doing stuff like that. And I've got such an efficient system where I can throw in and add in, like, I mean, shoot, I've got 25 new exercises on my computer right now that need to be input. So I'm constantly shooting videos and I'm like, oh, this is a variation that I didn't have in there yet. So, and I know that someone's going to ask and they're going to want to progress, because for me, it's about progression. And this is what I think is funny about Instagram right now, is because you've got all of these people that are looking for survival, right? They're looking to get by. So they're creating workouts. I'm like, oh, well, that's nice. That's a nice workout. That's a good workout. But nothing is scalable. Nothing is like, there's no like real progression, right? There's no really good system. It's like, yeah, so you can do this for 2 or 3 weeks, but what happens when like either the energy and the enthusiasm runs out, you don't have a long-term goal. Like for all my clients, we do 16-week cycles. So we've got 16 weeks. We've got basically it's 15 weeks, and then there's a test week. I want to know where you start. 13 weeks into it, we find out how far you've come after 12 weeks, 12 solid weeks of training. And then we wrap up with the 3-week cycle. And then if you choose to go again, it's a whole different round of workouts. It's a whole different variation of training. So that's what's been really cool about this whole online app with Train Heroic, is they've allowed me to put in all my own videos, all my own stuff. I get to set things and customize things as I need to. And we're so close. I have written, since I've met you, Jay, I've written over 1,300 workouts.
Nice.
And it's been crazy, but now like putting all these things together so that people can see their progression, because you can see all your past performance. You can see everything that you've done in the history, and it's trackable.
Well, so how you do anything is how you do everything. You cannot grow what you do not measure. The reason why I like Zach is I don't have to take a book and write down and measure things. I take my phone with me in the app and I log what I do, and I can just click a button and I can see all of my past 20 times that I've done it, and I can see my progression and the reps that I've done. So I can see the weight and the reps through time. And I really enjoy that piece of it, because I'm a junkie like that. I'm a stats junkie.
Yeah, dude, data is when you can see. That's why it's like you see that strength curve, like in the beginning, it goes like this and it goes up and up and up, and then it starts to plateau, but it's constantly going up.
Yeah.
But it slows down. So it's like for everybody, seeing that in the beginning, the most critical times, like what does it take to create a habit? There's like 75 different lengths of time to create a habit. I like the 56 days, which is about 8 weeks. You know, so you got 8 weeks, 90 days.
I've heard 30 to 90 days.
Yep. So, and everyone, and then some people, right? You take some people when it comes to, like, say, for instance, smoking. Some people have to hit the gum. They have to decrease packs, decrease cigarettes, hit the gum, and they have to wean themselves off, right? So my father-in-law, you know, with kids, I'm done. Hasn't been on them for 43 years. So it was just a decision for him. Everyone's different. Everyone has their own process, right? So it's my job to be able to like cater to that and help coach them through that process. So, but yeah, man, that's why I dig the app. And so when we use that,
here's
and we, oh, nice. There we go. So the website is still in development, but this gives you a pretty good idea of what we do. And
here's .com. There's Zach, skinny Zach, and you know, it's really quick. It's easy to get a hold of him and find his website. So
yeah,
generally speaking, the way this works for me is I do like kind of quarterly payments with Zach. If anybody finds Zach through Full Circle and mentions the Full Circle, you'll do something. Like,
yeah. So typically my clients, when we get started, this is kind of where we were going. is we do $297 right now for the first month, and then it's $97 a month thereafter. And so what we're going to do for you guys is we're going to go back to like the original. You know, the original was $189, right? So $189 for the first month, and then it's $97 a month thereafter.
Cool.
So you look at what that discount is, you can do the math on your own. Everyone's got calculators.
Yeah, I mean, you're paying. And the thing I love about this, you don't need special equipment. You don't need a special gym. Any gym,
Right?
tell Zach what's there, and he'll customize it to you based on what your gym has. So, for instance, for me, like I don't love doing the deadlifts on a bar. I like to do the trap bar. And so when I found the trap bar was there, I said, Zach, look, can you largely customize our workouts to be trap bar workouts? Which, by the way, today it snuck up on me that it was a sumo deadlift today. So I made actually a comment that I kind of messed this up, and having the ability to communicate with Zach.
But you swapped it out, right?
You can swap it directly on the app.
Right.
So we covered in conversation was what I want to cover. You have to control your brain, focus on your why, have systems, rhythms, and routines to support your why, have a coach, have people like a wife and children to hold you accountable. And it could, because if you don't hold yourself accountable for the greatness, the universe will hold you accountable in some other way. Pain, my friend, is required in life with everything you do, but the suffering is optional. So put in the pain physically with Coach Zach and the mental side, and I promise you, you will not regret it. Any parting comments here today, Zach?
No, man. I guess the biggest one is no one's coming to save you. Be the hero, right?
No one is coming to save you, and you know what? You'll find that out when you do his intake. And actually, when Jen did your intake, she's like, "Man, this guy feels like full circle." And I was like, "Yeah, I got to have him on." And I kind of gave myself a line in the sand for me to stop messing around with my life and start getting back into doing some interviews. So, Zach, thank you for your time today. And please, friends, reach out to him.
Our mission at Full Circle Coaching and Consulting is to awaken individuals to the power of authentic expression and help them realize their full potential, both personally and professionally. Without a cookie-cutter approach, we help you design and manifest your most authentic dream life, resulting in you earning more money and you having more time with your loved ones. You don't need to learn anything new in order to have the business and life you desire. You need to unlearn and shed all the unsupportive beliefs and behaviors that are subconsciously sabotaging your success. We help you connect with that factory-installed inner guidance and then reverse engineer the steps it takes to go from where you are to where your heart is calling you to be. This is our specialty. Let us help. When you're ready, connect with us through the links in the description below or go to our website at fullcirclecoachingandconsulting.com.